know, a lot of people, they ask me, why the teal suit? And, you know, I have a lot of reasons why I chose a teal suit. You know, I gotta admit, most of the time I'm wearing a graphic tee and some cargo pants, and that's being very generous. Most of the time it's PJs, so for me to wear a suit is very unusual. But what I realized about energy as I made it is, this is a character. You know, it's almost like a Playboy character. So then I started imagining, what would this guy be like? What would he wear? In my mind, I was thinking a little bit about Miami Vice, the 80s and 90s. Because, you know, that's what the track sounded like. It sounded like the 80s and 90s. Because in my head, I was seeing bright neon lights. Teal is one of those colors. So I knew I had to wear a bright suit. I felt like that's what a Playboy from the 90s would have worn, especially in Miami. And I use a little bit of color theory. So I have a warm skin tone, so the complementary color in the color wheel is teal. So that's how I decided I was going to wear the teal suit. So it was really about what's going to look good on me, but at the same time, more importantly, how do I bring the character to life? Because, you know, most artists are not going to tell you, I'm playing a character, because believe me, they are. You know, that's what music is about. It's about portraying a lifestyle or experience or viewpoint, and in the case of energy, I wanted to portray a character and a lifestyle. You know, it's tacky, but you know, that's part of the fun. Part of the fun is the tackiness. Like, I wanted to be a little corny, but you know, at the same time, he's still a cool guy. So it's a little retro, but I still made it modern. So that's kind of why I decided to wear a teal suit. And of course, you know, the whole track, you know, I already knew. You know, when I made the instrumental, I already knew it was kind of like a 90s throwback record. So in my mind, I was thinking, how do I kind of tie that into what I'm wearing? And I felt like the teal suit kind of worked. Like, I could easily see this in I was thinking about, Biggie Smalls, Big Papa. That's what I was thinking in my head. Like, as I said, it's a little corny, but I like the corniness for the record. It's all part of the campy fun. Because it's not a record where you want to take it too seriously, and it's not that type of record. So even the wardrobe has to reflect that. So yeah, that's why I went with a teal suit, but a lot of people seem to like it. And I gotta admit, I was a little surprised that people seem to resonate with it so much. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. All you mall rats, you probably know where I got this from. It's not any fancy designer. It's very affordable. I'm not gonna give it away, but maybe down in the comments below, let me know what the brand is. If you think you know what it is, for all you detectives out there. And whoever guesses right, I'll give you $20. So like I always say, an artist's main job is to portray a character, whether they want to admit it or not. And in the case of energy, it's a sort of ostentatious, gaudy Playboy figure, but we all love him. He's a little corny, he's a little weird too. I mean, I made him, so I can tell you that. I can admit. He's a little weird, but we still kind of aspire to be him. You know, if I ask this guy, what do you do for a living? He'll tell you, well, first I wake up, I go to brunch, and I have brunch with a 5-star chick, and it's decent, but you know, it's normal to me. He's like, well, I do this all the time. Like, that's all he does. Does he have a day job? No, he doesn't. He just lounges around and wearing Versace bathrobe, drinking Hennessy, and he doesn't even drink water. That's how much Hennessy he drinks. You know, he's just too high class for us. Like, who is this guy? I don't know this guy. I mean, I feel like I've come across a few people like him. We all know a guy like that, and he's one of those people. We all love him, but we all know he's a little weird. His daily routine is simple. He wakes up at 1 p.m. Yeah, after his rendezvous in the morning, you know, he has to have a rendezvous every night. If he doesn't have the rendezvous, he's gonna have problems. Like, his whole lifestyle is, how do I get women? And he does. He doesn't even have to try. As I said, it's second nature to him. It's almost like an animal. It's an instinct. So what he does is he wakes up at 1 p.m. after not working very hard. He doesn't work at all. He just has a lot of money, and it comes out of nowhere. I guess it grows on a tree for him. And then he goes to the club, he sits in the VIP booth. Don't ask me how he got that, he just has it. You know, he's almost like a mythic character. He's almost unreal. Like, this is a guy you see in the music videos. So, like, I went into the song not with the goal of trying to make a realistic character. I wanted to really embrace the fantasy of it. Because, you know, I kind of have I don't want to say a love-hate relationship with 90s glam rap. You know, I love it, but at the same time, it's a little silly, it's a little corny. Well, that's why I love it. I love the corniness. Yeah, but anyways, I got a little distracted. This is what he does. He goes to the club. He seduces various women. You know, I think he can't live without them, but at the same time, it's also normal to him. He's just used to it, as I said. Like, for the average Joe, like, having brunch with a 5-star chick would be a big deal, right? For him, not so much. He does it all the time, so. But it does go beyond something superficial. I think he doesn't even know. He's trying to figure out for himself. I would be friends with him. I think we all want to be friends with this guy, because he is a character. It's almost like Hugh Hefner as a rapper. That's how I think about him. Now, I'm not saying we should all be like him, but I mean, we all, deep down, we kind of aspire to be like us, to a certain degree. When you get to see this music video, directed by Diego Cruz, by the way. So if you don't know who Diego is, you gotta go check out his work. So that's number one, go check out Diego Cruz. So believe it or not, this was my first ever music video, like ever. And we all filmed this all in Detroit, not even Metro Detroit, not in the surrounding areas, all in Detroit. You know, I don't want to give away the various venues and nightclubs we filmed in. If you're a night owl, if you're a club goer, let me know down in the comments below if you can guess the names of the various places we utilized. I think it'll be a little fun game. But how would I describe this music video overall? It's very different than what I normally do. So a lot of people know me as, oh yeah, you're the fantasy guy, you're the medieval guy, you're the cinematic guy. You know, I usually do the kind of the more gothic, dark music videos with a cinematic flair. This time around, I want to do something a little more fun. And because that's what the song needed, right? It's a fun record, so the music video needs to reflect that, and I believe it does. So for one, you have a lot of, speaking on the colors, it's very beautiful to look at. You have a lot of neon colors. You know, colors just pop out, very vibrant, very lively. Describe the music video overall. Very bright, very vibrant, a lot of colors. I think it's just, you know, a real treat for the eyes. And you get to have a glimpse at the lifestyle of this Playboy character, you know, which is really quite luxurious and indulgent. And I think, you know, the cinematography reflects that, and, you know, not just what we see on screen, even the way we shot the music video it feels very expensive. And, you know, I wanted to do it that way to reflect the mood of the track, because ultimately that's what I want you, the listener, to feel. I want you to feel like I'm that person, I'm that guy, or I'm that lady. Maybe you may be that lady, I don't know. Like, I want you to feel like you're worth $1 million, and when you walk in the room, everyone's feeling your energy, everyone's feeling your vibe. So that's really what my goal was with the music video, and the record too. This is my number one goal when I make records. When I make a record, I'm always here to create an experience for the listener. And in the case of energy, it's more about, I want you to feel confident. That's ultimately why I made it. Like, I want you to play this record, and like now you feel like you can walk in any room and you know all the eyes are on you. You know you have that energy, that undeniable energy. Everyone is feeling your vibe. You know, whether that be romantically or just in general. You know, it doesn't always have to be about a relationship, but if it is, you know, that's great too. And also, there's an aspirational aspect to energy, right? Like, we don't always have what we want. But at least when you listen to Energy, you'll feel like I do have this. I have all these material goods. Even if you don't, I just want you to feel like you do. And I want you to embrace the fantasy aspect of the record. You know, that's why we listen to music. We listen to music to escape. And I think Energy is definitely an escape. I designed it to be an escape. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be bigger than life. It's kind of like when I listened to Big Papa and 90s glam rap, I always felt like this is bigger than life. So when you listen to the record, I want you to feel like you're bigger than life. So how did I come up with the lyrics for Energy? Well, given my career choice, I'm in a lot of rooms, and I meet a lot of people. And they all tell me the same thing. Oh, I really love your energy. Or I really love your vibe. You know, that got me thinking, well, you know, there's something that attracts people that goes beyond your physical appearance. You know, you may have an aura or a presence. And then I had another idea. You know, sometimes it's not even about relationships or attraction, but most of the time it is. Are they into me or am I into them, right? So then I combined the two ideas together. The idea of having the energy, the idea of having the vibe, and the question, are they into me? Am I into them? The push-pull of a relationship, basically. And it was a little more of a doubtful perspective. You know, not fully confident. That was the route I was going to go for at first. And then I listened to the instrumental more and more, and I realized that's not what the instrumental is asking from me. Because you had to go off what music tells you. You can't force it to happen. You have to make it happen organically. You got to trust your ears. The ears will never lead you wrong. So then I took that concept, and instead of are they into me, now it's I know they're into me. Because you know, the instrumental, it just sounded so glamorous, it sounded so big, it sounded so lavish, that I knew I had to take this, you know, I don't want to say less confident perspective, but maybe, you know, there's things up in the air, but with the new direction, now there is no question. Now you know. It's a fact. Like, I am that person. I'm the guy. And I know it. I have that energy. I have that vibe. I'm undeniable. My aura is undeniable. So that's kind of what inspired me lyrically for Energy. So when you write a song, you always want to have a moment that makes people say, oh, that's kind of crazy. But, you know, I do it on purpose. Like, if you listen to Future, he always has that one line that's out of pocket. And I want to have an out-of-pocket moment. So I was inspired by, once again, the instrumental. You know, it had a really 90s sound to it. And what was the 90s all about? It was all about sipping Hennessy. So I got to have the Hennessy in the lyrics somewhere. So that's why you have the ass is fatter off the Hennessy line. I know it's going to make all, because people are going to listen to it. What do you need to say? And if you really think about it, it is true. I mean, you got beer goggles, but in the case of Energy, it's Hennessy goggles. You know, Energy it's glam rap, it's glamorous. You know, beers for plebeians, we drink Hennessy. That's all we drink Hennessy. At least when you listen to Energy, you got to drink Hennessy. You know, there's a funny story behind Energy. Like 98% of the time, I always start with the beat first. And I just find it easier to go off of what the music tells you rather than forcing an idea on the beat. It doesn't work. Because once you can't force things to happen, you don't let them happen. That's what I believe in. You know, we all have our own creative workflow, but that's what works for me. Let me get into the story of how Energy came to be. Originally, Energy wasn't going to be my record. I was working on a movie soundtrack, and they asked me, hey, can you make an R&B track? And I said, of course, I can do that. I'm not going to say who it's for, because I don't kiss and tell. That's just not my style. And, you know, this is what he told me. Well, I was looking for something more aggressive. Well, you asked me for R&B, and I gave you R&B, and I gave you damn good R&B. But I didn't give up on it just because someone didn't see the vision. I knew what it was. I knew it was great, and you can't tell me any different. Like, I have ears. I know what it can be. So don't give up just because someone tells you, oh, I don't like it. I mean, they may not necessarily know what to do with it, but I knew what to do with it. I knew this was a hit record. Like, I could easily see Chris Brown or Bryson Tiller on the beat. So then, I realized, why don't I use it? Why don't I make it a hit record? And that's what happened. So I think there's a story there, and I tested the record out. I know it works. I played it at Annex years ago, and no one knew I was the guy who made it. I saw their reactions. They all moved. It was crazy. It was almost surreal. But the point being, don't give up on your ideas. Like, they may have a lot of gold there. So let's get into the instrumental palette for Beat for Energy. When you listen to it, I always want to sound expensive, especially for a record like Energy. You really want it to feel big and expensive, but truth be told, it's a very simple production. It's about how do I use all the elements in an effective manner. It's really simple, but each part is maximized. First of all, I think the electric piano is probably the most important part of the beat. And I was really careful with what type of chords I utilized. Once again, I keep talking about the 90s, but the 90s is a big influence for me. I was really inspired by Boyz II Men, Brian McKnight, and they all used the Yamaha DX7 electric piano. And I could have used the real deal, and by the real deal I mean real electric piano, but the DX7, if you don't know what the DX7 is, it's a synthesizer back from the 80s and 90s. It's on a lot of classic records, and it just has this really glassy, pure, smooth tone to it. And it just sounds like a record. It sounds classic. And of course, it's one thing to just, okay, great, you have the instrument, but you had to write the right music for it, and that's what I did. It's 3 chords on a loop, but I was very purposeful with how I constructed the chord progression. There's dissonant notes in there, and that's a trick for you producers out there. Sometimes when you do R&B, you don't want to follow music theory 100%. You gotta bend the rules. The dissonance is what makes it sound seductive and erotic, if you will. And with the drums, you gotta have the bounce. We live in 2024. Well, it's 2020s now. And I made a beat back in 2022, and now it's 2025, but it's still very modern. So you got the trap drums, but I was careful with the groove. I could have went really aggressive with it, but I want to make it smooth. So I left a lot of space in between the kick and snare. I don't want to overwhelm the musicality of the track. I want your ears to breathe. I like to do unconventional drum patterns, and I feel like Energy definitely was, not your typical drum pattern, but I think it gives it a lot of personality. It's very West Coast. It's very West Coast drum bounce. I could hear Ty Dolla $ign on it. You gotta have the cowbell, add more cowbell. And the cowbell, it always makes me think of the 80s or 90s. It's a very classic sound, so I think what's so great about this instrumental is it's the past meets the present. It's classic yet modern. So that's how I would describe the instrumental for Energy. It's very smooth, it's very luxurious, it's modern, it's timeless, it's classic, it's R&B meets hip-hop. It's a lot of things in one package. If you don't have the 808 knocking, you're not doing it right. You gotta have the 808. But once again, I was really careful with the 808. I could have had the 808 doing crazy triplet rolls and it's overwhelming, but it wasn't that type of record. It wasn't like a hard trap record. So I love spacing between the 808s, so just let it breathe. So you could just, take it easy. Because I knew that this is a laid back record, so the 808s have to be laid back too. Yo, what up guys, it's Ashwin Gane, and my new record Energy is out now on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and YouTube. We even got a music video coming out, directed by Cruz, so you know it's about to be crazy. I'm really excited for this one, because it's been on my vault for 3 years. The industry tried to block me, but I'm not going to let them stop me. And I'm really excited for you guys to go listen to this one. It's very vibey, it's very laid back. And this song is all about, that undeniable energy some people have. The unspoken chemistry between two people. And then you combine that with a high roller lifestyle that we all aspire to have. All wrapped up in the 90s glam rap, R&B, hip-hop, gumbo. So yeah, this one is a vibe for sure. And I know you're about to feel the energy, so go check out Energy. Ashwin Gane, I love you guys, and I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy this new record. So I'm about to tell you guys about how I recorded Energy. I think it was really fitting. I recorded Energy back in 2022 with my friend Keith Ross, and if you don't know who Keith Ross is, he's a very acclaimed vocal producer. He's done a lot of good records. And more importantly, he's my friend. He's just a good guy. I recorded this record with him in Miami back in 2022, so around 3 years ago. But as the saying goes, you gotta wait for good things to happen. Everything has its time and place, and now is the time and place for Energy. And, Keith Ross is a stand-up guy, so he told me, hey, we're only going to be able to get in at 1 a.m. My daughter's here, and I want to spend time with my daughter. I said, Keith, I understand. And I think it worked for the benefit of the record, because Energy kind of has that 1 a.m. feeling to it. This was my first time doing a Playboy record, because you had to understand, the last record I did before Energy at this point in my life was outside. Recording Energy was a new experience for me, because back in 2022 I was doing a lot of aggressive records, so for me to step into this Playboy space was kind of new to me. And I think it worked out beautifully in that, and I think even recording at 1 a.m. even contributed to the vibe and energy of the record. At first I was almost screaming the lyrics. Well, I don't want to say screaming, but I was a little too aggressive. And then Keith told me, you gotta calm down. You gotta be laid back. This is a player record. Then I started being more laid back, and you can hear it on the record, because my goal was for it to sound like I'm not trying at all. Because that's what makes it sound so player. That's what makes it sound confident. That's what makes it sound laid back. And if you pay close attention, I'm kind of slurring, I'm kind of imperfect with my delivery. But that's what gives it the vibe. That's what gives it energy. So sometimes you have to embrace not being perfect. Then I got to thinking, Future, 50 Cent, they don't pronounce their words properly. Sometimes they slur, but that's what makes them sound like they're just in that zone. They're just on autopilot. Like, this is easy, this is a cakewalk. So I purposely did that, to give it that vibe. Because, part of your job as a recording artist is to understand these little minutia. Because it's very easy to fall into the trap. I need to make every line perfect. It needs to be on the grid, it needs to be perfectly quantized. You need to understand every word, but what's more important is the groove, the feel, and I think Energy was a stepping stone for me to realizing that. It's all about, how do I play the character? How do I make the audience feel the record? And I think I even so Energy to me is a very fascinating combination of, my natural voice, 50 Cent, Future, A$AP Rocky, a little Drake, and what I realized is I put my Midwestern twang on there, so you don't have to worry about do I sound like my influences, because just let yourself get inspired and you will create something new. So I don't ever worry about am I copying someone. I just let it happen. And I think when we were done, Keith Ross told me, he's like, wow, I really believe this. Like, this really sounds like you just got out of the club and now you had a rendezvous at the hotel. And now you're off to brunch with a 5-star chick. Like, it really sounds like that. And, I doubted myself that I could even pull it off. And I feel like once I did, it all worked out. So you can't put a barrier on yourself. You just had to let yourself try. And you had to take all these limits out of your mind, because you're really the number one ceiling for you is yourself. Most of the time we tell ourselves we can't do this, we can't do that. But if you put your mind to it, you can make anything happen. Like, truth be told, I'm not a playboy, but I can play the playboy. I can embody that role if I put my mind to it. So to me, that's kind of the lesson I really walked away with. Because it's great to make the music for. These life lessons are priceless. And it definitely improved my energy and vibe going through this recording process for energy. And we're probably going to make a new reel out of this, but I'm going to speak about the background vocals. So Keith Ross, he does a lot of pop records. So if you don't know this, Keith Ross he's a great vocal producer. In fact, he's worked with BTS and a lot of your favorite artists. And what I learned working with him is background vocals play a big role. Because you can have a lead vocal, but it may need more life to it. And I think for energy, the background vocals added a lot of vibrancy, a lot of personality. Like, I didn't just copy what I did on the lead vocal. I did it in a different mood, a different personality. Like, I may have been more zoned out or more relaxed on the background, and it kind of adds an emotional layer to the lead vocal. So you can kind of shape up the emotional arc of your vocals by adding background vocals. And I learned that from Keith Ross. So, you are the sum of who you work with. And so just keep your mind open and keep learning. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I think that's all I really have to say about energy.